With the release of super successful roguelikes like Belantro, God of War Ragnarok's DLC Valhalla, and more recently the surprise release of Hades 2, we thought it would be a good time to list our favorite roguelikes of all time, in no particular order. Spelunky. Those who have played it alone likely had an amazing time, exploring treasure-filled mines, throwing pots and bones at enemies, and uncovering secrets as they delved deeper into the story. But those of you who played co-op with a friend might have caused some chaos, like when a friend accidentally threw a pot and knocked you into a fatal fall. Created by indie developer Derek Yu in 2008, the game's procedurally generated runs were enough to keep many players coming back. It borrowed concepts from roguelikes and combined them with real-time side-scrolling platformer elements, influencing many later roguelike games. The sequel was also critically acclaimed, receiving an average score of 91 on Metacritic and praise from sites like Polygon, IGN, Rock Paper Shotgun, and Eurogamer. We were thrilled when Spelunky 2 was nominated for Best Indie at the 2020 Game Awards. The Binding of Isaac. Created by indie developers Edmund Macmillan and Florian Himsel, the story of this game was inspired by Genesis 22 of the Hebrew Bible. It follows Isaac, who flees into the monster-filled basement of his home after his mother receives a divine message demanding his sacrifice. The game features 4 progressively tougher levels filled with enemies, secret rooms, and treasure maps. We have fond memories of discussing new perk combinations with our friends basically every week, and a few less fond memories about the frustration of dying at the final boss. Released in 2011 for Windows and later for other platforms, the game's expansion, Rebirth, added more content and replayability. Developed with Nicholas, it remains a standout in the roguelike genre. We consider The Binding of Isaac one of the best in the genre. Hades. Developed by Supergiant Games and released in 2020, this roguelike action RPG has players control Zagreus, the son of Hades, as he attempts to escape the underworld. With help in the form of perks from 9 of the 12 Olympian gods, Zagreus navigates randomly generated rooms filled with enemies and rewards. Using a hack-and-slash combat system comprising 6 very different weapons, players combine weapon attacks, special abilities, and magic to progress. Each run ends when Zagreus dies, but treasures collected can improve attributes for future attempts. The game's narrative unfolds across multiple playthroughs, supported by lesser characters such as Sisyphus and Eurydice. Praised for its story, art, music, and voice acting, this game is widely recognized as one of the best roguelikes. Risk of Rain 2. Players control survivors trying to escape a hostile alien planet. Each survivor has unique abilities, requiring different strategies. Players progress through levels, defeating enemies to gain experience and currency, pretty much like every roguelike. Currency opens chests for random items and activates turrets and drones for assistance. Items provide various buffs and can stack infinitely. After locating and activating a teleporter, players must survive an onslaught of enemies until it charges, advancing them to the next level. The game's difficulty increases over time and with progression. Multiple endings exist, including final boss fights and secret levels. Players unlock new survivors, items, and abilities by completing challenges. Featuring familiar elements from its predecessor but transitioning to a 3D environment, this game was nominated for several awards, including Indie Game of the Year at the 2021 SXSW Gaming Awards. Slay the Spire. Developed by Megacrit and released by Humble Bundle, this roguelike deck-building game as players attempt to ascend a procedurally generated spire. Choosing from 4 characters, each with unique abilities and starting decks, players engage in turn-based combat using a collectible card system. As they progress, players defeat enemies to earn new cards, relics, and potions. Strategic deck building is crucial, as players must balance adding powerful cards while avoiding dilution with weak or unplayable ones. Failed or successful runs unlock new characters, relics, and cards. Nominated for multiple awards, this game inspired many other roguelike deck builders. We eagerly anticipate its sequel, Slay the Spire 2, set for release next year. Slay the Spire remains one of the best games in the genre, with tons of enjoyment to be had. Enter the Gungeon. This dungeon crawler follows a group of misfits seeking to find the legendary gun that can kill the past. Players select a hero and navigate through a series of procedurally generated floors, battling enemies and bosses with a variety of unique and bizarre weapons. Using dodge rolls and cover, players must strategically avoid enemy attacks. Along the way, they gather loot, unlock chests, and interact with merchants to gain powerful items. Each hero's journey is fraught with danger and the need for precise combat skills. With its permadeath system, each attempt brings a new challenge. Enter the Gungeon's mix of bullet hell mechanics and roguelike elements make it a prominent figure in the genre. Returnal. Players control Selene Vassos, an astronaut trapped in a time loop on the alien planet Atropos. Each death sends Selene back to her crash landing, forcing her to navigate ever-changing environments and battle alien foes. The game is split into two halves, each with 3 biomes. Players use a variety of high-tech weapons and abilities, including a grappling hook and melee attacks. The game's challenging enemies and dynamic combat keep each run fresh. An online co-op mode allows 2 players to tackle the campaign together. Known for its striking visuals and intense action, the game is also a standout in the genre. Into the Breach. In this turn-based strategy game, players control giant mechs to defend humanity from monstrous Vek. Each battle takes place on an 8x8 grid, where the goal is to protect civilian structures and complete various objectives. Players command a squad of 3 mechs, each equipped with different weapons and abilities. Enemy attacks are telegraphed, allowing players to strategize their moves and counter the Vek effectively. Success relies on tactical positioning rather than sheer power. The game features procedurally generated scenarios on different islands, offering a variety of different challenges and rewards. If players fail, they can send a pilot back in time to regain experience for the next attempt. This game blends strategic depth with roguelike elements, ensuring its place as a captain in the roguelike space. Rogue Legacy. In this 2013 platformer with roguelike elements, players explore a randomly generated dungeon to defeat 4 bosses before facing the final boss. Each character can jump, slash with a sword, and use magic attacks. When a character dies, control shifts to one of 3 heirs, each with unique traits such as colorblindness or ADHD, which affect your next run. Gold collected during runs upgrades equipment and abilities, which carry over to heirs. Players can unlock new classes such as mages or shinobi, and enhance their bloodline through services provided by the blacksmith, enchantress, and architect. The game balances challenge and progression, rewarding perseverance despite its difficulty. Plus, if you want more Rogue Legacy action after you've completed the first one, the second one came out in 2020, which is just as good. Special mentions. God of War Ragnarok, Valhalla DLC. Sometime after the events of Ragnarok, Kratos receives an anonymous invitation to Valhalla. Accompanied by Mimir, we venture into the last remnant of Asgard and force our way through Valhalla's entrance. However, our equipment and magical powers are suddenly stripped away, leading to our defeat. Awakening on the shores outside the entrance, we are confronted by Freya and the Valkyrie Sigrun. They scold us for breaking into Valhalla without informing them, but ultimately permit Kratos to enter. In every run of Valhalla, our journey ends with a new piece of story, whether it's a few lines of dialogue or more direct development, contingent on our performance in battle. Between each attempt, we get to choose new starting skills and gear slots, which become stronger as we clear each room. Hades 2. Supergiant has surprised us all with an early access release of Hades 2 on May the 2nd, continuing the tradition from the original game. This early version promises substantial content akin to the first game's early access launch. The final V1.0 release date remains unannounced as development continues, with updates planned to enrich gameplay, introduce new characters, and advance the story. The sequel features a new protagonist, Melina, Hades' daughter and sister of Zagreus, who's a powerful sorceress from Greek mythology. So let us know if you agree with this list, or if there's another beloved roguelike game that you thought we've missed out on. And don't forget to cross your T's and square your I's.